Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got the insanely sweet sugary coffee epidemic.
Coffee has been getting sweeter and sweeter and sweeter to the point that baristas around the country are calling our morning drinks diabetes in a cup. Now, nothing wrong with a little sweet treat, but what happens when we're talking about a daily habit? What happens when we're talking about something?
Yeah, I'm gonna back it up to this cup here. It's not so much the person holding it. This could be any person. This could be you. However, don't do this every single day, because this is 100% just sugar in a cup and sugar on top of the liquid in the cup. As someone who has worked at McDonald's and has had the unfortunate time of being up in the front of the store serving, and I was creating these coffee drinks, I gotta say, some of you people should add a little bit of coffee to your cup of sugar if you're gonna call it coffee in the morning. Because, seriously, some of you guys put way too much sugar in your drinks. I had this one person who, literally, before I put any liquid in the cup, say this was their cup, it would be filled up to here with just sugar and creamer and other garbage before you add that much coffee on top. And it's you really do have a 50-50 ratio, because then after I pour the coffee on top, I gotta shove one of their metal spoons all the way to the bottom and make sure I really get in there and try to get that mixed up so you don't just start drinking straight up sugar. Because even though you'd probably be like, this is pretty good, it's a little sweeter than normal, but could just be me today.
Talking about something that you chug before 9 a.m. Well, it turns out that sweet drinks might be one of the worst things you can consume for your health.
And I bet you, most of you, if you cut out that one drink a day or cut back even half the amount of sugar in it, you'd lose some weight. Anyway, smash that like button and get subscribed while you're here. This looks like it's going to be a fun video. I've never heard of her channel before, but we're checking her out today.
Researcher calling them the plague of the world. Yeah, I found a lot of really interesting stuff to show you guys today. So today we're discussing the diabetes
29 sugar. Now that definitely is a record. I have not seen anyone asking for more than 20. That was the most I ever got. I had one person who would come in and their normal everyday drink had 12 sugars in it. It also had 12 creamer.
in a cup trend, not my words. The fact that sugar sweetened beverages are one of the worst things you can consume for your health, the death of black coffee, and the surprisingly insane benefits of pure black coffee.
Yeah, there are definitely benefits to some of the part of the drink you have in the morning, but the reason your morning coffee at any, drive up place isn't $1.50, $2 anymore, and it's now average $7 a cup, is because of all that sugar in there. They need to pay for that sugar somehow. If they were just sourcing the coffee beans and maybe a small amount of sugar to add a little flavor to your coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't even really like the smell, but to the point of, I know there are things to sweeten a beverage, add extra flavor to things. Imagine any pop without any soda without the sugar in it. Soda or pop, depending on where you're from. I'm from Michigan. We call it pop. But anyways, we're going to get back to it.
Also, I want to say up front that I am not trying to shame you for your sweet coffees, just trying to give you entertaining health information, and you can do with it as you please. And also, there is a huge difference between a daily habit and a once in a while treat, as you'll see. But first, while we're on the topic of daily beverages, it's time to talk about water. Thanks to today's sponsor, Cove Pure. A countertop of Earth. Thanks to Cove Pure for sponsoring today's video. On April 24th, 2016, a man pulled up to a Starbucks drive-thru as he usually did, with plans of picking up his morning drink. Only this time, he was met with a surprise.
"Diabetes, here I come," was printed in capital letters on his grande.
I mean, let's see what his order is, and we'll see if that's true. Because if he gets this every day, it might become a reality.
White mocha.
I just feel like as the barista, were you trying to get fired? What was the thought process here? But listen, okay, that was 10 years ago now. Coffee drinks have evolved an awful lot since the white mocha days, and this becomes very
Wait, that's all it was just a white mocha? That one seems tame to what we're about to witness, I'm guessing.
very obvious if you've ever seen any of those videos of
that.
baristas making coffee orders on social media. I think these videos started
By the way, these aren't coffee. This is flavored shave ice in a cup.
going viral about a year ago, and it's pretty interesting to see what people order. But yeah, if you do watch a few of these videos, you really cannot help but notice a trend.
Yep. Oh yeah, those 3 packs of Splenda are really going to help balance out the 29 sugar.
Now, maybe you're thinking, that one has to be a joke, okay? That one
Nope.
is rage bait for views. And I agree. I like sweet.
I do not think it's just rage bait for views. That is definitely someone's actual order. My biggest reason I'm going with that is due to it being rung up in the drive-thru and not just on the front counter. If it was on the front counter, it could be an employee trolling. But being that it's drive-thru, I'm more inclined to believe that it's an actual customer.
But that one is literally crunchy at the bottom. The only way
Yeah.
a drink like that is seriously going to be palatable to you is if you've
Yeah, that employee failed. This one you can't just shake up. You need to put a spoon to the bottom and give it a great tough stirring. You need to try your hardest to bust that sugar up. It's why you became a barista. It's so you could get that stuff and clean it out.
absolutely cooked your taste buds. Like, that is a tolerance that you've built over time. But yeah, even if that particular video is fake, it is true that over the last few years, sugary drinks have gotten so out of control that baristas have been calling out a phenomenon they are seriously calling diabetes in a cup. That's what they're
I mean, there's a reason I quit drinking soda, except for when I go to a restaurant. That's the only time I get it anymore. I don't buy it at home. This is all I do. No sponsor or anything. I just enjoy this stuff. The Mio Energies. Get any of the flavors. There's plenty of them to try, and in my opinion, it helps you drink more water throughout your day because you're just, adding this little flavor additive to your water.
calling it
Y'all don't know gluttony till you work at Starbucks. There are people
Yep.
who come in every single day, get 15 pumps of vanilla, extra vanilla sweet cream.
I had people get so many pumps of our vanilla sugars and liquid sugars and all our syrups for their coffee at McDonald's too. That McCafe works as hard as any Starbucks, I believe.
Extra heavy cream in one drink, and then you have the nerve to get a Trenta.
Somehow even Google's AI knows that this is a thing. Diabetes in a cup is a phrase describing a sugary creamy coffee drink so packed with sugar, syrups, and high-calorie creamers that it's considered a major contributor to high blood sugar and is particularly harmful for people with diabetes. When you look around, you see that there are tons of posts by different baristas around the internet discussing the insane amounts of sugar people are putting in their coffee these days. McDonald's, diabetes in a cup, US.
Yeah, I've seen this plenty of times. 20 sugars, 11 equal. Usually that one's not as included. My store anyway, we didn't have hardly anybody choose an equal, but shots of caramel drizzle, chocolate drizzle, the 20 sugar, light ice. Yeah, right. Because you need to fit your 20 sugar in there. Extra 19 creams. 19 creams, and it's already a large caramel iced coffee. So it gets already, I believe it's like 4 pumps of large ice or large caramel syrup. So you're adding that, and then you're adding all the extra drizzle. Like, if you get this every day, I hope you don't, but I hope if you do get this every day, man. Whew. I hope you have a strong body that can process this thing, or you move enough throughout the day to actually need your body to need that much sugar.
Say. Ladies and gents, I present
Ho 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 ho! Wow. 11 shots, Ristoretto, upside down, 4 hazelnut, 5 brown sugar syrups, 4 chai, 3 mocha, 2 white mocha, extra chocolate, something powder, 3 vanilla bean powder, caramel drizzle, extra mocha drizzle, extra cookie crumble, extra cinnamon doll top, add caramel crunch and extra cinnamon powder. Wow. That. I mean, your entire like order sticker goes almost up the entire cup. You know you have a problem.
diabetes in a cup.
And there's 2 other items in this order.
Little Dunkin' Donuts, diabetes in a cup. Starbucks, McDonald's.
It's just insane.
But let's actually read one out from Starbucks because I feel like it actually does a good job summing the situation up. The amount of sugar people are consuming is insane, like absolutely insane. I've had multiple customers come in and tell me they are pre-diabetic and can't get their favorite drink anymore. I never thought I would hear that multiple times. A lot of these customers are in their
Yeah. I've covered other videos in the past, and I'm going to do another one here within the next couple weeks of different the fat acceptance, fat activism movement, and just adults trying to make big obese people seem like the norm. And all of a sudden, those people who are being that big and not doing any positive things in their life about it, they're all dying by like age 30 to 40. And it's like, so some of these customers who are in their 30s and 40s, they may not be that big yet, but if they don't stop, they will wind up heading down that road.
30s to 40s and would otherwise seem healthy. They talk about coming to get their Starbucks after a workout and everything. Even the Oleato's supposed health benefits, the Oleato was a olive oil based Starbucks drink. Even the Oleato's supposed health benefits are completely
negated. I remember
negated.
that one. That one was just, that didn't even look good. It looked gross.
By adding it to a 6 pump of sugar, venti, whatever. Some people wake up at 6 a.m. to order a Frappuccino. I know it's their coffee and they like it how they like it, but it's just such a sad situation and it's making me depressed knowing that I'm serving diabetes in a cup. I feel like I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you're like, oh, getting your first job, if I work for a fast food place, I'm just giving everybody diabetes. If I work for, a big corporation, I support this, massive only wants money kind of company. And it's like, yeah, you just got to kind of pick and choose where you can stand the people, you can stand the groups that you want to go work with. Maybe you work your way out of there and into something better.
I'm going to get uncomfortable with the amount of times I'm saying the word diabetes. But there is actually a connection between sugary drinks and real diabetes that we'll discuss later on. But yeah, overall, this phenomenon is real. When you look around, there's been this real rise in extreme coffee drinks over the last few years. As an example, I give you Exhibit A, the Ice Spice Munchkins drink. This drink is a collaboration between Ice Spice and Dunkin' Donuts that came out in fall 2023. It is not only a blended frozen coffee drink with whipped cream and like syrups, but
yeah, the caramel that's on the here, let me move my photo for a minute. But this caramel that's on the inside of the cup here on the cup edge, that's all decorative. You don't really get much taste from that. You might get a smidgen of the flavor. But beyond maybe a teeny bit of flavor from that, that's all decorative. So really, the caramel you're looking at is the one that's on the top on the whipped cream there. That's what you'll actually ingest and eat. So at least some of that caramel syrup you see is not being eaten. So at least there's a little bit of sugar left in the cup.
it also quite literally has blended up donut holes in it, as in
oh man.
Donuts. Also, little Canadian side note, here in Canada, Tim Hortons has a complete monopoly over those little things, like in terms of what they're called. We call them here Timbits. And I actually think that's the only place I've ever seen them. But yeah, this drink, it has not only just one blended up donut hole, but man, you're crazy today. What are you up to? Maybe I should zap them. But yeah, this drink.
I was about to make a positive comment. Maybe I should zap him. I don't know, guys. Maybe I should zap him.
Has not just one, but the large actually has 4 blended up donut holes in it. I feel like that is just so unnecessary to the point of not even being enjoyable. What happens when you like get a donut wet? Nothing good. It's gonna be like soggy, it's gonna be like clumpy. It's just like so unnecessarily obesogenic to the point of not even being enjoyable. And again, I'm telling you guys, I like sweetness. Sweetness is like my Achilles heel. I gave up fast food, no problem.
Oh yeah, my biggest food category I love is sweet things. Lately, a lot of my snacks I've been having are like cinnamon sugar coated, so I completely get the thing.
Problem. I never crave a chip anymore, nothing like that, but sweetness will be the death of me. But yeah, this is how the Ice Spice Munchkins drink is made. This is an image I'm assuming is a guide for Dunkin' Donuts workers. I think that's correct. So we have a heaping cup of ice, water, that's good. Liquid cane sugar, looks to be a decent amount of it, 4 pumps. Cream, depending on how much you want, I guess. Coffee, syrup, and if we look around here, we see...
Yeah, that's getting pumped currently there into that pitcher. That's the liquid cane sugar. Sometimes other places will just call it liquid sugar.
That's the only coffee
Same thing.
in here. So this drink actually doesn't have real coffee. It has coffee syrup. Then we have the pumpkin munch.
And it doesn't even have that much coffee syrup in it. It's more pumpkin munchkins than coffee.
2 for a small, 3 for a medium, or 4 for a large. Caramel drizzle in the cup, whipped cream, and caramel drizzle again. And this drink comes out to a whopping 830 calories. Now the drink is discontinued, so I couldn't find the rest of the nutrition information, so I don't know exactly how much sugar's in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and guess that it is a lot. Because if we take a look at the rest of Dunkin's drinks, not only do they have a lot of sugar, but there is a lot going on overall. Let's take a look. This is their most recent nutrition PDF. So first,
you see, I found out that McDonald's had this big paper booklet that was our big nutrition guide, and it literally had every item for McDonald's worldwide. And I discovered that there's some McDonald's in Europe that I don't know if they still do, but they at one point had McBeer. And I'm like, that's freaking awesome. I bet you it is fatty as hell or sugary as hell, or maybe because it's not in America, it actually is good for you. It's actually not shit for you. I can't say good for you, but it's probably not shit for you. It's one of those where you look and you go, huh, you know, maybe you got something going on over there for once.
On here we have the pumpkin cold brew with sweet cold foam. Medium, 240 calories. Okay, so far, not bad. It's a treat. It's a fall vibe. You get it while you do your apple picking or your haunted house, or it's just like a crisp fall day. At 240 calories, it's really not a big deal. Anybody can make that work in their lives as a treat. But as we can see here, it does have 41 grams of added sugar, which is definitely a lot of added sugar and in liquid form, which we'll talk about later. But then we go down to the very next thing on the list, the cereal and milk culotta. This thing is 890 calories for a large or 670 calories for a medium. Now this is a very high calorie drink, almost 3 times the calories of the first drink. And it has 126 grams of added sugar.
And the cereal one has 168 at a large. Holy crap. I mean, the pumpkin spice one that she went over first, that one's 350 calories at the large with 58 added sugars, which is just kind of insane.
The medium, that is more than 3 times the entire daily added sugar limit recommended by the World Health Organization and the American Heart Association and the dietary guidelines for Americans.
Yeah, me cutting out drinking soda and sugary pop, at least. I still have my Mio, obviously, but I can't. I need some kind of caffeine to get me through my day. So I gotta find it somewhere. However, it's like the reason that was the main reason I stopped doing energy drinks was for my heart, just because I'm like, oh, and oh, so drinking a lot of energy drinks is really bad for your heart rate, and having your heart rate be elevated with energy drinks all day long is just not great for you. You got to find other ways to keep you up and moving. So, maybe vary your caffeine intake throughout the day of different items if you're still someone who is addicted to these kind of drinks and can't stop because, well, it's an addiction. It's okay. We all beat it at our own way.
One drink. And also, to put this into context, okay, that is more sugar than any one single cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory. When I first read this, it was actually blowing my mind. Look at this, okay? Let's look at this. The fresh strawberry cheesecake has 55 grams of sugar. The toasted marshmallow s'mores galore has 102 grams of sugar. The dulce de leche caramel cheesecake has 83 grams of sugar. Meanwhile, okay, at Dunkin's just getting started. Let's look at this. The candy bar frozen coffee, 1,060 calories.
60 calories.
In a large,
wow.
With another 126 grams of sugar. The pumpkin frozen coffee, large,
1,000 calories.
144 grams of sugar. The triple mocha frozen coffee, large, 1,100 calories.
So if you're not from America and you gotten to this point and you're watching, this is why America is fat. This right here. The average American's morning drink. This right here. Some people don't get these things, but many do. And it's why America is fat, obese, etc.
159 grams of sugar. The triple mocha frozen coffee, medium, 840, 122 grams of sugar. This is just their fall lineup, okay? The fact that all of these drinks have substantially more added sugar than the cheesecakes at the Cheesecake Factory, any one single cheesecake. Have you ever seen these cheesecakes? They're like literally known for being like very decadent and high calorie. And Dunkin', a thing you're supposed to consume maybe on your way to work, is putting them to shame sugar-wise. And to be fair, we were just reading out the really sugary, high-calorie ones. If you wanted to make a healthy choice, you absolutely could. There were tons of lower sugar options there as well. But if you weren't...
Oh yeah, tons of low sugar or no sugar options do exist. Getting a plain black coffee is always an option. I would probably recommend you get a water at some point to, keep your system from just having coffee and sugary beverages all the time, but, that's just me.
Paying attention, and you didn't know, and you just ordered like a little pumpkin coffee thing that you thought sounded best to you, you'd be hit with 1,000 calories in one shot and a massive sugar load. And it really isn't that obvious either which drinks are like the really high calorie, really high sugar ones. Obviously, there are clues, but not all the time. You go to their website and you look at their base level frozen coffee, okay, which I assume is going to be ordered by someone at Dunkin' who's maybe trying to be a little healthier, or they just like it a little more plain. This thing has no extra
or it's someone who lives in a hot climate and doesn't want to drink a hot beverage. They want a cold beverage. That's the other kind of person I see getting
flavorings or syrups or pumps or swirls in it. It's still 410 calories in a medium, which is a lot.
With 84 total sugars, 77 added.
A coffee drink that at least seems to be
wow.
Plain. And again, a whopping 77 grams of sugar. I also wondered why it called itself an energizing spin on your morning coffee, because typically the whole thing about coffee is that it's energizing. But look at this. This drink also has more than...
Holy crap. Woo! Like, one of those in a day is basically all you're allowed to have.
3 times the amount of caffeine in a Red Bull. Dunkin' is like literally a menace to society at this point. And honestly, I have to give it to Starbucks here because I actually couldn't find one drink on their menu over 1,000 calories. I'm sure you could customize and get it there, but they don't actually sell any.
At least you can give them that one singular credit that at default, nothing's over 1,000 calories.
Base model 1,000 calories. Meanwhile, Dunkin' has multiple.
It's
giving
point.
Connie's soda problem.
Paunchburger just recently came out with a new 128-ounce option. Most people call it a gallon, but they call it the regular.
It's not my place to speak for the consumer, but everyone should buy it.
And when I was researching this video, I discovered that the top source of excess sugar consumption in the USA is sugar-sweetened beverages, like these sweet coffee drinks. And I mean, when you take one look at these coffee drinks, it clearly makes sense why. Now, in this case, we have been talking about...
Yeah, when your whipped cream is spewing out the top of your cup like that, you have too much. Like, this shouldn't be a look you have to do every morning to suck off your coffee.
The most extreme drinks available. We've been talking about the diabetes in a cup type drinks. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that most people are not taking their morning coffee like this. Some people get these as a treat. You know, they're not the morning coffee order. There are probably some outliers, but I think that these drinks are mostly, you know, a little more rare. But as
Oh no, these aren't as rare as you'd think. There are people who get these kind of things every single day, 5 to 7 days a week even. There are people who would come on their day off to just get that beverage and to continue their gotta have my daily. And it was actually ridiculous.
I kept working on this video, I learned that coffee really has been going through a major transition lately. Even regular coffee orders have suddenly become way sweeter than ever before. And from what I can tell, it all started with the death of black coffee. Now, for a long time, drinking hot black coffee was like considered to be the only acceptable way to drink coffee. And what I mean by that is if you drank your coffee any other way, at some point, someone would inevitably comment something like this. You shouldn't say you like coffee if you don't like your coffee black. I constantly see people
I heard that all the time.
That they always drink their coffee with a bunch of milk, sugar, and all kinds of weird stuff like caramel. Actually, my favorite place to get coffee in Toronto is run by a man who is, I say this very nicely, the biggest coffee snob I have ever met. I seriously mean that in the nicest way possible. The man knows everything you could possibly ever know about coffee, and his coffee is the best coffee I've ever tasted in my entire life. He has beans from like the tops of very specific mountains, and he sells Kopi Luwak, aka that coffee that comes from a small animal eating the coffee berry and then like pooping it out. This guy takes max pride in all his beans and his brews. But if you specifically order a coffee at his shop and you try to add sweetener, he won't actually say anything rude to you, but he is 100% judging you hard. You'll be like, can I have a sweetener? And he'll be like, just taste it. Just taste it. Taste it the way it is first. And then you'll be like, I like black iced coffee, no problem. It's very tasty. I do not like hot black coffee. I need a little cream, just a little splash of cream. I need just a little splash of sweetness. And then
that was another one. Just that normal iced coffee at McDonald's. That one's pretty sweet too. The iced tea, the sweet tea, that one, I'll ruin that one for you too. It's still the same amount of sugar. It's just now in a liquid sugar form. But before we switched to that, we literally used to just pour an entire bag of sugar in with the tea. Like, it would be an entire 1 pound bag of sugar that got added to every, I think it was 4 gallons or 5 gallons of tea. And yeah, that's a lot of sugar.
I'm happy. But yeah, this kind of attitude
it's why you liked it so much.
The third wave of coffee. There was truly a hipster attitude to the whole thing. It was all about like the quality of the bean and the roasting method and doing pour overs. And during this third wave of coffee, taking your coffee black was an absolute badge of honor. It's not that people didn't take cream or sugar or milk. It's just that black coffee was the aspiration to which we all aspired. And the whole idea was that there was this one true way to take your coffee, and that way was black. Except guess what? When researching this video, I found out that that's actually total BS, and coffee and sugar actually go way back. By the time coffee hit Europe in the 1600s and became this like huge trend almost immediately, people were immediately adding sugar to their drinks. And monks drinking it back in the day before that, they were adding sugar too. So yeah, as coffee grew as a habit, sugar was always right along there with it. Apparently Voltaire, the writer / philosopher, would drink up to 40 cups of coffee a day, laced with chocolate and sometimes extra sugar. But anyway, my point with all this has just been to say that coffee and sugar, they do go together. This isn't a new thing. It's not a weird thing. And now you know that if someone tells you that the only way to drink coffee is black, history says otherwise. But here's the thing. Up until now, we have been drinking coffee with sugar, not sugar with coffee. But that,
like I said, there's some people who I actually question if they would like some coffee with all that sugar. And they would probably say, no, I'm good.
that is changing and changing fast. According to this coffee industry magazine called Coffee Intelligence,
But the other thing is, with the increased price of coffee beans is why coffee companies are saying they can charge you more for your Morning Joe, even though your Morning Joe is becoming less and less and less and less and less of coffee. It's kind of weird to see this whole thing pop up.
thanks to millennials and Gen Z, quote, coffee serves merely as an ingredient rather than the star of the show in today's coffee drinks.
Yep.
The article then goes on to say that coffee isn't even
Sugar
the base
is
of the
the
drink we're
base.
calling coffee these days. Coffee is no longer the star of the show. What is the star of the show? It's sugar. We don't like coffee anymore.
Yep.
We like caffeine plus sugar. We like syrup.
That's why I ultimately just went to, caffeine and a little flavor additive into my morning drink.
We like
That's it.
sweet creamers. Move over, coffee. You're just an ingredient in coffee now. And if you look around on social media at some of the cute coffees people are making, some people still brew their espresso with like a fancy machine. But a lot of people are like, nah, I don't care about that. Give me that instant coffee. Okay, I'm here for the syrups. It does not matter to me if the coffee is even passable because it's just a flavorant and caffeine source within this diabolical drink I'm making. Yeah, there's this whole trend now of people making their own coffees
Yep.
at home. Really customizable, sweet, sometimes very fancy.
And hey, that's great. If you're wanting to make your own stuff at home, make it. Do it. Just don't overdo it and do it every single day to the point where your body becomes addicted and reliant to function normally with a cup that's that much sugar and that much actual liquid. Like, come on. We need to get this whole thing under control. Whoop. There.
Fancy drinks, very aesthetically pleasing, a whole cute little ritual that they're doing at home. But the problem is really not a one-off drink that you make for yourself on the weekend. It's this whole broader trend. For example, one thing I found was that the most popular drink at Starbucks, it's no longer a cup of coffee. You'd probably think it would be like a cup of coffee, right?
It's going to be a frappuccino, isn't it?
Plain latte or a cappuccino.
Or a frappe.
No, the most popular drink at Starbucks is the caramel macchiato. That is the
Macchiato.
number one drink according to Starbucks' own stats.
Yeah.
Actually, I would have thought that the iced coffee would have been the number one drink. So if you think about it,
That was another good
customize
thought.
the iced coffee, you add whatever you want. So you would think that the base iced coffee would be number one. But nope, across all Starbucks stores, it's a sweet treat. It's the caramel macchiato.
Of course it
now,
is,
a caramel
though.
macchiato is basically a latte with espresso and milk, but also 3 pumps of a vanilla syrup and a caramel drizzle. And a medium-sized one has 250 calories and 33 grams of sugar. It doesn't say
At least it's not the highest on the list. I will give the average across the board that the highest on the list is not the most commonly ordered. However, 34 grams of sugar in one singular beverage for the day is still terrible.
specifically how much added sugar, which is the more important number. But because milk also has sugar, let's assume that there is 21 grams of added sugar in the drink. Now, 21 grams of added sugar is a fair amount, but it's not insane either, especially after discussing what Duncan had going
like
on.
I said,
but
just
21 grams is about
it's
the
not
same
insane.
as a chocolate bar or 2 Krispy Kreme donuts or half a can of Coke. So it's a treat. Not a big deal. But if you're not aware,
yeah, you get half a can of Coke. With, like I said, I cut out soda and pop because I couldn't do it no more.
this and it's your daily order.
Those
being that
liquid
it's not
calories were
popular
so
drink, it
easy
is
to cut
tapping
out
quite
too.
a bit of extra sugar onto your day that you might not have ever even thought about. And the thing is, if you watch a few videos of baristas doing their morning shifts and you see a few orders back to back, you begin to realize that caramel is a very, very popular in coffee these days. Which caramel, if you didn't know, is quite literally like melted sugar. It's quote unquote caramelized sugar, and sometimes butter and cream depending on what type of caramel you're making. Let's take a look at this 5 a.m. morning rush video at Starbucks. Okay, we got 2 caramel crunch frappuccinos, I think. Another caramel crunch. lots of whipped cream, a tropical
Man.
citrus.
I do kind of miss the ritualistic of just making different drinks, but when they had that much sugar in it, no, I don't miss it at all. I do miss just the ritualistic of making a drink and having all the industrialized machinery to do it with. That made it so much easier to actually make the stuff. But I don't miss the constant insane amounts of sugar where it's like just no.
Energy
I don't.
drink, brown sugar shaken espresso, iced white mocha, not sure what that means about the foam, and strawberry acai lemonade. So yeah, kind of crazy because nobody got coffee. And this is just one video, but this is what people were ordering at 5 a.m. And if you watch a few other videos, you see like this is how it.
Yeah, I thankfully had a construction company near me, so we did have a big group of construction workers who actually did get coffees, in the relative sense. Yeah, some of them had a lot of cream and sugar added to them, but at least most of those were majorly coffee. I think there was only 1 or 2 of them out of that daily order of, I think it was 8 or 9 coffees total for the one order that came every day, that only like 2 of them were, I would say, a 50-50 cream sugar to coffee ratio, while the others were much more coffee than cream and sugar. So at least those ones in a couple of the orders did stick to just coffee.
But yeah, this is what the orders look like at 5 a.m. People are ordering desserts as coffees before they even start their day. And again, these drinks, not a big deal as a little treat. What happens when your morning coffee is literally equivalent to drinking multiple Krispy Kreme donuts and you don't?
I actually remember a couple of customers that would come and get something like this more than once a day. I had a customer who would come in 2 to 3 times a day for a large Diet Coke as well. That's another big epidemic I want to find something on to cover later.
Even realize. Well,
it's the Diet Coke
there is
addiction.
A lot of science on this phenomenon, and it is actually really bad. I'm not even just saying that either. Going into this, I knew that liquid sugar was uniquely bad for you, but I did not realize how serious it actually was. So all of these drinks that we've been discussing today are what's called in science a sugar sweetened beverage, or SSB. A sugar sweetened beverage is any drink that has added sugar, and not just a teaspoon, but a substantial amount of added sugar. So if you're adding just a little bit, like a teaspoon or 2 of added sugar to your morning coffee, that's not what we're talking about. The classic SSB was for the longest time soda. Soda was by far the #1 sugar sweetened beverage for forever. But over the last 10 years or so, soda consumption has actually been in a major decline. However, as the amount of sugary sodas we're consuming has gone down, other sugary beverages have just popped up in its place, such as the super sugary sweet coffee drink. And this isn't good because it turns out that drinking your sugar is uniquely problematic to health. According to a meta-analysis published just this year that analyzed data from over 500,000 people worldwide, drinking your sugar is way more problematic for your health than eating it is. So sugar sweetened beverages, whichever they may be, sugary coffee.
I believe I've also read similar studies, and I believe it's due to the fact that a sugar that you're eating with, in foods, that'll make you feel more full quicker rather than in liquid form where you don't get as full, you don't feel that fullness, but yet you've had all this excess sugar. So then when you eat, you add more on top and more on top throughout your day, and maybe you have another beverage in the evening because you're a college student and needs to study, and then you get an energy drink on top of that. Now you have had a lot of sugar for the day, and your body just has to do something with it to process it, or it just becomes fat.
Coffees, sodas, energy drinks. These were way, way worse than eating cakes, candies, chocolate bars. How much worse? Well, interestingly, sugar consumed through beverages was consistently linked to a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Meanwhile, other sugar sources showed no such link, and in some cases were even associated with a lower risk. So I wouldn't go run out and eat 10 cakes, but in this case, these researchers are saying that they're surprised to find.
They're basically saying it would be better if you chose to eat 10 cakes than drink a few of these drinks. We're not saying to do either of them, but one option is a bit better. It'll make you feel fuller.
Sugary food was for some reason not associated with increased diabetes risk. Sugar sweetened beverages, on the other hand, definitely were. With each additional 12-ounce serving of sugar sweetened beverages, i.e. soft drinks, energy drinks, and sports drinks per day, the risk for developing type 2 diabetes increased by 25%. This strong relationship showed that the increased risk began from the very first daily serving, with no minimum threshold below which intake appeared to be safe. So even one sugary drink in a day consistently makes your risk of diabetes jump noticeably. And the risks keep climbing as you add more servings. And like a Monster Dunkin' Donuts style drink, that is going to count as way more than one serving, while a more modest drink is just going to count as just one. So even though it sounds like a joke, I guess that these drinks seriously were diabetes in a cup. Probably the best thing you can do to reduce your diabetes risk, or if you're concerned about diabetes, is just to not
don't have these
sugar sweetened beverages. And yeah, like I said, going into this, I knew sugar sweetened beverages were unhealthy. I had no idea that they were this bad. They were truly this uniquely unhealthy thing. But in January, researchers at Tufts University published a study revealing that 2.2 million new cases of type 2 diabetes and 1.2 million new cases of cardiovascular disease occur each year globally due to consumption of sugar sweetened beverages. And Barry Popkin, one of the most respected researchers in the nutrition space, he actually called SSBs the plague of the globe in a paper that was also titled "Sugary Beverages Represent a Threat to Global Health." So yeah, sugary coffee drinks are not your friend. According to the science, here are the main issues with sugar sweetened beverages. They directly promote weight gain and higher BMI. They carry an elevated risk of coronary heart disease and stroke. They're associated with hypertension, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, gout, and chronic kidney disease, and they are uniquely dangerous for diabetes risk. So yeah, cutting sugary coffee drinks and any other SSBs you've been consuming, super easy way to improve your health. Who knew that these drinks were so uniquely awful for us? Like, I knew soda was bad. I knew 1,000 calorie super sugary coffee drinks were bad. I didn't know we were talking about plague of the globe bad. And you know what else is really interesting that I came across while researching this video? Sugary coffee, terrible for your health, right? Black coffee, potentially like insanely amazing for your health. But adding more than half a teaspoon of sugar or 1 tablespoon of cream canceled out the effects. Here are some clips of Rhonda Patrick talking about what it is about coffee and our bodies that makes it so good for us.
Science increasingly demonstrates that coffee actively slows biological aging. It protects cells from damage and helps the body adapt to stress, effectively.
Just make sure if you're a black coffee drinker that you are also brushing your teeth regularly, because otherwise that coffee's going to stain your teeth.
Slowing down aging at the cellular level. Coffee does not increase your cancer risk. In fact, it probably reduces it, particularly for certain major cancers, including liver cancer, endometrial cancer, and skin cancer. Coffee doesn't just have antioxidant properties. It actively reduces DNA damage. This is one of the fundamental triggers of cancer. There is an important nuance when it comes to coffee's health benefits, such as the cancer protective effects. Brewing method does matter. Most studies show clear cancer protection involved filtered coffee. Boiled or unfiltered methods like the French press or espresso allow oily compounds called diterpenes to enter our cup of coffee. At higher consumption levels, these diterpenes have been associated with slightly elevated risks of certain cancers, such as pancreatic cancer and respiratory tract cancers.
Kind of crazy, right? She actually has quite a few videos about the health benefits of coffee if you're interested. I'll put some links in the description. Now, I feel like despite everything we talked about today, most people are probably going to continue drinking their sweet coffee drinks. So I'm going to leave on screen just a few tips. If you're
that first one, there's probably the best one you can go about, is just get a smaller size. Get the smallest size you can. Don't those big sizes for these sugary drinks, ignore them. Pretend they don't exist. If they try to upsell you, just tell them, no, I don't want that. I want the small one. I would even say if they try to upsell you, give them a teeny bit of attitude. Be like, did I say I wanted that one? No, I wanted the small one. And if you're one person who the restaurant knows and they try to prep your order ahead of time, just pull up and say, hey, I'm getting a small today. Nothing wrong. I'm just trying to cut down. and the restaurant will be completely understanding.
Are going to keep doing it to do it a little healthier. And have you seen my Biggest Loser video? I feel like you might enjoy that. There's a fun montage of my favorite person of all time. Very heartwarming stuff. I also put out a video recently that you might have missed about this crazy UNICEF report about how childhood obesity is taking over the world, even in countries.
Yeah, I think that's the end here. That was a great video. We will definitely probably react to maybe another one of hers in the future. The why are kids suddenly obese? I saw it pop up on the side of my screen here, just under my photo there. But yeah, right there. And yeah, I was like, well, that one looks kind of interesting. So we might do that in the future. Anyways, if you haven't already, get subscribed, smash the like button, and have a wonderful little day. I'll see you later.